You, oh, there. Got it. So starting with Andres, could you please give your opening statement within kind of the 3-minute time frame of who you are, what position you're running for, et cetera.
Okay. Well, my name is Andres Perez. I am going to be running for SGA of President Collegewide. A bit about myself. I was born here in Orlando, Florida, born and raised. Been living in the west side of Orlando near the Winter Garden, the Winter area my entire life, of course. My previous leadership experience, I would say the first one I'd say would be back when I was in high school, my senior year. I was the section leader of our marching bands. I used to play saxophone, so I used to just be a section leader for the saxophone section. And my second-hand experience would be here in Valencia at West Campus, the Source Code IT Club. I was the secretary for the past year, of course. So that was both of those positions helped me develop a sense of responsibility, time management, communication, and teamwork overall. Of course, my approach to leadership is kind of like a big brother relationship. I'd like to focus more like my relationship with whoever I'm leading, and in this case, going to be our constituents. Develop a relationship with them, keep an open mind, communicate, create a very positive and inclusive environment for everyone, and then going off of that would be emphasizing being more efficient, of course, with my role, and being efficient with setting up events and communicating and working together. Of course, I've been wanting to be a leader for a very long time, and being president, I would like to focus on working with the community, being active with the community, trying to go to as many events as possible, and just being as active as where I can be. As of course, the emphasis being president of the SGA and being at these events would mean something, of course, like recognizing these events and organizations that are going on. And
Are you almost, sorry, I don't want to cut you off there.
No, you're good. And whether I love to win or lose, lately I've had a track record where I haven't been losing as much. I've been winning, I guess, consistently, and that's just because of in the past, like losing, of course, like learning from loss, learning from that. I honestly say, like, I would love to lose. I'd love to learn, because that's you gain knowledge, you gain that experience from loss, and it helps you win, in different and win in bitter. Sorry, it will help you win your biggest trials, pretty much. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We can turn it on to Fritzson now to give your opening statement of your position and kind of your thoughts for SGA as a whole this coming year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Fritzson Louis, and I'm running for the vice president. And my thought, a little bit about myself is I was born in Haiti, and I lived in down South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, and then I came down here for school for Valencia. So one of the reasons why I want to run for this position, because I see a lot of torn, like it seems like there's a separation between the student body and clubs. Like there's not enough involvement with that. And I believe that the clubs are a perfect place for people to just like meet each other, and there's so much separation. And it's so funny because me and Andres have so much similarities. I also was a section leader in the band in high school, and I played the euphonium horn. And me and him also was the secretary of the tech club that I'm from the East Campus, and he's from the West Campus. And it's so amazing because we met each other. So like we know of one another, but I didn't know that he was running for this position. So it's a breath of fresh air, because we already have that first interaction. And one of the things that I think is very important is that I love losing, because like I kind of like crave a loss, because like I have an expectation to lose and learn from it, because for so long I've been in a situation where I've been needing to learn from losses. I'm in software engineering, so there's a lot of things that doesn't go wrong, doesn't go right, and you have to fix that code and just fix that problem. And as far as the organization goes, as in what is SGA, I think SGA is like a center ground between the faculties and the student body. And I would like that to be a lot more seamless. Like we have to have that communication where it doesn't feel like we have one side saying one thing, one side saying one thing. I want to be that centerpiece that blends all of those interests together to make things right. Rather it is a student trying to fix their grades, or the faculty trying to have more involvement within their class. I think we can have a lot of fix with that, because a faculty can easily allow their student to attend events for extra credit or anything like that. And I think as far as the new student experience, we can even implement a section on new student experience class just for them to attend clubs and just have that interactive version of it. Because if you join a club in new student experience, and let's say if it's required as your first semester class, you will love school a lot more, because now you had a chance to pick from any organization. And if this could be like a weekly activity, or maybe once a month, or every other class assignment for new student experience, that would be amazing. And that's one of the things I want to address, and just to blend faculty and student body. And I have a lot of leadership experience.
Thank you. I'm sorry to cut you
off.
off.
That is all. Yeah.
Time is up, but thank you for that. I appreciate you both sharing just in-depth answers of where you guys are coming from and your perspectives as you're coming into this position. I'm going to turn over to Tyjon to ask the first question in the getting to know the candidates section, and I'll keep the timer for that as well, Tyjon, if that is okay.
Let's see something that you guys haven't mentioned. From both of your perspectives, what is the purpose of SGA?
We can start with Andres first.
So the purpose of SGA, of course, is it's an organization, but it's not just an organization. It is pretty much the bridge between students and faculty. It's the body that helps voice people's concerns and helps to get in touch with the students and the daily lives of each campus, the school in its whole, to try and better the environment and better the campuses and pretty much the student experience as well. From this, it's a very, how do you put it? It's of course it's important in the daily lives of students as to better communicate and get across to the faculty on what to do and what to work on. And not only that, but it helps the academic aspects of it as well, in terms of, you know, what classes can they take, or what clubs can they join. SGA is that perfect like space and perfect it's kind of like, you could call it like a phone number where you just call it up and you just ask questions, or you just ask voice your concerns, and pretty much whoever's on the other end of the phone calls is going to be able to help with them and better assist them, of course.
Perfect. And Fritzson?
I think the purpose of SGA is everything he said, and just to put it in a more aspect of myself, is like the bridge is just the representation. We have to represent the student body and also the interests of the faculties and also the decision makers, all of this stuff. And it's kind of like we have to follow guidelines. We can't go too overboard, like the governance and just the community building is very essential. And just having to be very intentional about being the voice and try to represent in a fair aspect, because we have to advocate for the students, and also we have to advocate for the school as well. So it's a very sense of sense of leadership development, and it kind of like make you a leader regardless of what role you take, because you have to represent so many people in such a way where you love them as if they were your own family member. And that also goes into like, there can be some hard situation, just like a family member. You might hate what you have to do at that time because there's boundaries you have to follow. So I really feel like SGA is a very it's like a turning table of decisions, and like one person speak and then the other person speak, and I'm saying as in faculty and then the students, and then we try to see what we both can come to the table and agree on, and then we can actually make decision that help not just the current semester, but the entire maybe 5 years, 10 years, and then we can build on that. Because if me and Andres help like the ruling of maybe some type of community event, the next president and the next vice president have a toolkit, and it won't be so hard. So like, it's like we have to make sure that, yeah, and then that's it.
Perfect. I hate cutting you off, but we do have a little bit of a timetable we need to stick to, but thank you for your answers. So now that we've kind of established what the purpose of SGA, from your perspective as a student, what problem have you seen on campus that you would hope to fix in using your platform? And we can start with Andres again.
Thank you. Let's see. I think my friend Fritz will have, I think, a more in detail look on the issues that go on the campus. I've attended only West Campus. I visited Osceola and downtown, beautiful campuses, by the way, love them. But most of my education is at West Campus. And so my perspective through West Campus, of course, is kind of like more community events, if that makes sense. There are a couple of clubs. I know over at East, they have a ton of clubs, ton of activities to do. I feel like as a West Campus student, there has to be more activities that go on, of course, and a diverse set of clubs I think people can attend. So whether that be trying to promote like people signing up to like create new clubs, or trying to help students, get in touch with advisors, or try and get the word out like, hey, if anybody's interested in this club, you could do, you could sign up here. That's all I have to say about the issues that I've seen on campus.
So essentially just students being aware of kind of the opportunities that they have on campus is what you see as the primary issue you'd want to solve, or one of the issues you want to solve?
I think that's pretty much the first step to try and eliminate the issue, of course.
Okay, perfect. And then Fritzson, could you please share an issue or a problem you see on campus that you would hope to solve with this platform?
I would say just the intertwining a class with a club. There's a lot of clubs that goes and blends well with a lot of majors. And if there is a way we can have those clubs be very, very vocal about their involvement, we can probably have a sector of when the students sign up for a club, it triggers what their major, and then it comes with a whole bunch of clubs that intertwines with their major. And all of that is very difficult, but I think especially in the IT sector, there's a cybersecurity club in the West Campus, and also there's a tech club. So just having that time to relieve just your student life is really cool. And just having a way to forecast these events in a way where it's organic, where everyone is talking about it, as in like the faculties get interested into them, and just doing it not just for their grade, because my professor stopped giving us extra credit for attending tech club or anything, but just for them to say, hey, this is where you can go. And it helps a whole bunch, because you meet so much people that you'll have a lifetime with. And I think that's one of the things I want to address and fix.
So essentially, just kind of to summarize, targeting student interests that they have proven through the classes that they take, and building a larger community around that of incorporating students with the, like incorporating students to students and their similar interests outside of the classroom with the clubs is kind of what you're saying?
Correct, because it won't be about getting an A in art. Now you can get that A in art and then join the art club, because that's just anxiety. Just you're doing art for A, but not for yourself.
Okay, wow, that's really cool. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand with your focus as vice president in the RSOs. So I'll turn it over to Ty John for the next question.
So my next question is, as you all know, every SGA's main goal is to be for the students and about the students. So my question to you is, what are ways that SGA can support today's students? And we'll start with Andre.
First and foremost, of course, advocating for policies that will better enhance the student experience here at Valencia. Support and fund resources that will better enhance their education. And of course, advocating and speaking about those resources, like, oh, head to the math center if you need some tutoring, having trouble with math, or, hey, if you want to learn more about certain issues around the career, we could try and, bring in people to speak upon that, that are not graduates, sorry, but of course that are within that field to better, enhance that experience. And I think feedback, of course, is great as well, because not only do we want to support the students, but sometimes we don't know like what we need to support them specifically with. There's definitely some issues or some problems that the SGA most of the time, or maybe a few of the times, are not going to know. So of course, feedback from the students will better enhance that. And that's all.
Okay, we'll pass it on to Fritz.
Well, for me, by the way, I got myself time as well. So for me, it's just it's a critical thing for us to support the student. I think we need to hold more focus groups and give them incentives, give them that free Chick-fil-A, because I went to a focus group and it was very good. It was you hear all those issues, because instead of trying to make up the issues and trying to create it from like 1 or 2, 5, 10 students we talk to, let's try to see who goes there, because those students that goes there will go again, maybe once a semester or 3 times a semester. Hold these focus group and hear their policies, hear what they want change, and get them into those, get us to go to those meetings where they trying to take out textbook, where they trying to change these different way of teaching. And now us as VP, president, or and whoever holds position can talk to those people that makes the decision. But it all starts with the focus group, so we can know what's going wrong. Because the focus group I went to was incredibly useful, and it was a discussion among all of us, and there was no hold bars, no putting your emotion in a box. We had all the time and all the fuel and all of the secret Chick-fil-A incentives to keep on talking. So I think that's one of the things that needs to be fixed, us having a talk about what's going wrong among rather it's 10 students, and creating the time frame for that, because that was very helpful for me.
Thank you. So the next question I have, both of y'all touched a little bit on this in your opening statement about the experiences in leadership you've had. Could you delve more a little bit into that and how that will directly affect your position, and also maybe some of the lessons you learned while holding that position? I know that's a lot for 2 minutes. I just wanted to get a little deeper. We can start with Andres again.
So it was very interesting. So it was my senior year, of course. The year beforehand was all COVID. So depending on where you were from, but back in my high school, there was an option between in person or online. Of course, a lot of parents put their kids online, and that pretty much hindered the marching season, of course, and marching events and football games and competitions were all canceled. So leading up to my senior year, not only were we got a new batch of freshmen who, I got, of course, my responsibility to teach them how to march and, lead them. We also had another class above them, the sophomore class at the time, didn't know how to march as well. So dealing with that, of course, was very was very interesting. So I had to pretty much rely on my group of friends, like my seniors, to help me, educate them, lead them, because I couldn't, sometimes you have to admit you can't do it on your own, of course. And that's one thing I had to do, was admit I can't do it on my own. So I definitely called upon some help to assist. So not so of course half of my section didn't know how to march. So teaching them how to march and just being a leader and just communicating with them, like, hey, if you need help, if you need, if you want me to come over, help me with not even just marching, of course, but of course music as well, because it hindered all aspects of marching and music as well, their music and marching ability. So I was able to better assist them in marching, having one-on-ones with them. That comes from, of course, my high school experience. And then here at Valencia, being a secretary, I was able to communicate with people that, like, didn't know much about the club, or didn't even know there was a source code club, that were in that STEM field, that IT or coding field. They didn't even know the club existed. So I was just more of an advocate to be like, hey, we have this club, you should definitely join the Discord, join the Engage, and join. It's a lot of fun hosting social events. And that was also one thing I advocated for, was just more of a social environment, get people talking, get people to have fun. So that's touching base on my leadership experience.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And then Fritzson, we'll turn it over to you as well. Also, I can repeat the question too. I know that was kind of a two-part one.
No.
Would that be helpful? Or you got it?
I got it.
Okay.
So my former leadership experience, it's a variety of things. I used to be a section leader. I used to be a head cook at First Watch. I'm not sure if you guys eat from there. And I also was a trainer for transactional processing agent of different people, different industries of like Charles Schwab, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and all of the financial institution you can think of. And just to answer the question even in more deeply in depth, is that my leadership experience reside in trying to match the tempo of who's above me, because I love the fact that when I was a secretary, I was able to help massively for my president of the tech club, because whatever he couldn't handle, I was trying to match his energy. So I think my leadership experience really coincide with trying to match the efforts that my peers or my manager gives off, and then I try to make their life a lot easier, because I see myself in their position, because my goal is to just relieve them of not thinking about me. And if I can relieve them of not thinking about the next 2 or 3 people and see their values, then I can like help out more massively than the role, than what the role says, because I was secretary, but at the end of the day, I was doing a whole bunch of things to make sure things was happening. So I think being very flexible is what I was saying.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Tyjon, do you want to ask the last general question before we move into the specific position questions, or are you ready to move into the specific position questions?
We can ask one more general question. So I have a question for the both of you guys. We have different executions in SGA and leadership styles. Some are more active and some are more behind the scenes. So as your personality, are you guys going to be more behind the scenes leaders, or are you guys are going to be more active in the campus and community kind of leaders? We'll start with Andre.
Perfect. Definitely active. Definitely. I love talking to people. That's kind of my thing. I like making new friends, meeting new people, and of course, this position is going to be a big responsibility, but it's also going to give me the opportunity to meet people and meet the community as well, because I'm very interested in seeing what's going on at other campuses and more in depth of what's going on my campus as well. So definitely being present, of course. I think being active is definitely important.
Thank you. Moving on to Fritzson.
For me, it has to be a little bit of behind the scene and a lot of active, because I think we have to see what's happening behind the screen scene, because we have to be able to talk to those important people that the students never see. We have to be able to like discuss in a very civil version of like all the people who has those important positions. So those are like super essential. And then once you close that door to the president office, you're talking about a lot of serious stuff that nobody see. Cause so after the smiles, after the giggles, after eating up those free Chick-fil-A's, we have to have some serious conversations. And as far as active, we have to be able to be active so we can know what active clubs are there, what are they doing. Because one time I went to a club meeting and there was no club meeting, the door was closed. I was like, whoa, what is this? I was trying to go to a club meeting for or this club. So I think the active role that Andre says is essential. I would say 70 active, 30% behind the scene, because we have to be able to put the face behind the person that represent the student. And are we able to have those solutions for the student and put them in a way where we can bring them back, and not just in our way. Like if I say something to Andres, he go ahead and flip it around and then say, oh, this is how I can tweak it to like favor myself. So I think that's why it should be more 70% active, 30% behind the scenes.
Thank you. And then we have questions specifically for each of you all, but then before that, I just want to ask each of you what led you to become interested in becoming Andres, the SGA president, and then Fritzson, the SGA vice president, and then we can move into the specific platform questions. So starting with Andres again.
So I'm looking to go into political science, so that's kind of the basis of it all. I really was just walking around campus, and then I'd seen the table with I think our SGA West staff just trying to hand out flyers trying to promote like elections are coming up. So I kind of realized like this would be, of course, I mean, a great experience for me, but of course, I just would like to, create a better, more friendlier, more healthier environment in the school. Of course, be active, try and promote things I think a lot of students would be happy with the upcoming year. And just overall, just being an advocate and speaking for the students themselves.
Thank you. And then Fritzson.
And for me, what led me here is just to being in the tech club, being part of the tech club from the ground up on the East Campus where it didn't exist. I just felt like there was so much backlash and what we had to learn. We had to like pretty much make up what the previous semester tech club did, because the whole COVID thing, leadership stepping out was a little bit difficult. And I felt like we had massive support from visitor positions from student development that came through to let us know what we had to do, and just seeing their roles within helping us survive the semester, helping us like come together was very crucial to me. And then I got to the focus group and I was hearing about all these clubs and stuff. And then I was like, hey, I like this club. I was going to the West Campus and then I was going to their tech club. I was like, oh, I like how they did this. I like how they do that. And then someone from student development told me that, hey, you might want to run for something in SGA. And I didn't really see it as that, but I really love working behind the scenes. And I did vice president because I would love to like match that energy, because I like being one tier lower so I can be like his like secret president, so I can help him out in the synergy. So yeah.
Thank you. And then I'll just start off the specific platform question with Andres asking, how can the SGA help the college reach their impact goals of college access, graduation, transfer success, and then career credentials? And this will be 5 minutes for this question. I can always repeat it too.
Perfect. So starting off with college access, ways that, of course, the SGA I think is already doing is, partnering with college departments and community organizations to just provide information and resources for the students. such as, financial aid or even direct connect to UCF if you're planning on doing that, and even other colleges as well. Advocating for policies, as I said before, try and, create more resources for students overall to gain access to, so they could, find ways to, enhance their careers, enhance their education. We have like college fairs. We have, what are they? Sorry, we just had one at West Campus recently too. I forgot what they call it. Job fairs, of course. They're great ways to reach out to students. Like, hey, if you're going to this field or if you're interested in this, in these careers, all these companies are already like coming to Valencia, setting up tents, setting up tables to try and get kids to come in and like be interested. And there's always, sign-in bonuses. I know Lockheed Martin is a big company as well. They come to Valencia for looking for computer science students or anyone that's working in tech, and they're a great partner for us as well. For graduation, hosting events, like, hey, set kids on track to graduation, of course, letting kids know like there's classes, talk to your advisors, talk to anyone in the security buildings about the classes you need to take. What else? And what was the third one again? Right after that.
Success was right.
Transfer success. Of course, providing information for deadlines, because I've met a lot of students that don't, even in classes, of course, like they don't know where specifically to look in terms of like deadlines for assignments, and even like deadlines for transferring and graduation requirements, of course. Just overall promoting that, trying to make it more easier for them and communicating that to them as well. And of course, depending on where they want to go ahead. I know in terms of transferring to UCF, it's fairly simple. You get your AA and you transfer. But of course, if you're looking at other institutions to transfer as well, work with them, tell them there's always these resources, communicate with those colleges as well. And then for career credentials, like I mentioned before, Lockheed Martin is a big partner with Valencia, and they're trying to grab as many computer science students as possible. And Valencia is great for that as well. But I believe our medical department is also very, very rigorous as well. Trying to find finding the specific industry that our students want to go into. Overall, is trying to make it more easier, make it more streamlined process.
Thank you. And then I'll turn it over to Tyjon to ask the platform-specific question for Fritzson.
Okay, so I will have 4 questions for you to answer. All right, my first question is, would you say stronger unity between the SGA and the registered student organizations or clubs and organizations is in the student body's interest, and why do you believe yes or no?
I think it is in the student body interest because there's a lot of the time where you are not going to find Dr. E, and there's only one person that can probably find him on a consistent basis. So just have, so it is in their interest because we are able to connect with those people in like a more consistent basis and get that out there. And just repeat that question one more time for me, please.
Yes, sir. The question is, would you say that stronger unity between SGA and the RSOs is in the student's body's interest? And explain how you use that position to strengthen those bonds. So how would you connect the student body and the registered student organizations to SGA?
Yeah, okay. So just to extend one of the points I made, focus groups, just having that to connect us all, and it can be an impromptu one as well. Hey, let us know what do you want the school to be in, is because like there's so many things that can happen within the student body, and just having that eyes and ears for you, because like we have to be, for me, I have to be in those clubs, understand what everybody has, and it splits outside of just technology, because I'm in the IT sector. It can go to the medical student. It can tell the medical students, hey, what would you like to have? What type of events caters to you? So just having those discussions, just having those interaction is so important, and just being able to take those interaction and actually have an action behind it is what we have so much power within, because we can bring those ideas to the person that can at least make something happen. Like, and that's the behind the scene that is very crucial, because we won't, after the focus group, the people attending will not have a clue what's going on. But for me as vice president, they can ask me for updates. And of course, there's things I can't tell, but at least I can say, hey, your idea is in action. Your idea about this is in action. I can give them a little teaser of saying, hey, you actually matter.
You had your time is up for that question.
Okay.
So my next question for you also is, throughout the last couple of years of COVID, we have seen a significant downturn in our RSOs. So my question for you is, how would you introduce RSOs to our campus community?
What does RSO stand for? Oh, that's like clubs and stuff?
Yeah, so that's our RSO stands for Registered Student Organization, is what we call clubs and organizations.
The way I would introduce that is just like I said, just making new student development some way, somehow part of the curriculum. Cause like every student has to take that class. So just having the ability to have clubs be confident that they are being talked about. It's not like this rigorous process where you have to go from the ground up. And I would say to introduce a more unity of like, hey, this event is at this time, and the club that's been established throughout the whole time without no downfall tend to be at that time frame. Maybe they didn't know that, but having that engaged platform that nobody seemed to go to, like, maybe very more active. So I think if that is extremely active, those clubs can see where they fit into those scheduling. And I think that's one of the things that would be important, just having that.
Thank you. My next question is, what are some of the ways, as you know that you're going to be the vice president and clubs or organizations will be coming to you as that lead communicator. So my question to you is, what are some ways you would facilitate communication with with our RSOs? So basically, how would you have that steady stream of communication between yourself and the clubs and organizations?
The way I would have this communication is easy. Find all the presidents and have those. Maybe if they want their formal contact email, maybe they want their formal contact is me attending their event. Have those lists of events in their contact forms, and try to but attend them, call them, and try to see what's in their mind. Rather, I love attending networking event, and I would have all of those things on my calendar of one a week or something, and until it's satisfied throughout the month. And I think that's one of the most crucial ways, just show them that I actually love them as a person and love what they're trying to do within their clubs. And that would be one of the biggest thing I can do for them as far as showing, taking care of that question. Yeah.
Thank you. And my last question for you is, do you have any specific engagement ideas to progress and enhance life as a Valencia student?
Engagement idea would be just having a way where we can all connect as in organizations. The tech club tried, but we was in the infancy stages of things, so we wasn't able to do a lot of collaborations. If we are able to bring well-developed organization that's already established, then we can create events that matters. We had an Instagram page of all of the clubs, and now we was like at a starter phase of that. So now if we can do that in a more wider factor where it's like all of the president of all the clubs of each campuses, now we have, we cooking with oil now. We have something going on, and that would be very, very fun. Very, very fun.
Thank you, Fritzson. Now I'll pass it back to Brianna.
Thank you both just for sharing your vision for SGA. And I'm honestly excited to see and hear how both of you carry out this vision college-wide, because this is a new structure of SGA. This is an important role of president and vice president. So I just appreciate you taking the time to prepare answers and to communicate kind of what you hope to see this next year. And I hope that a lot of students will be able to hear this and get excited for this next school year. I think that kind of wraps it up with our question wise. And I think we're good to stop recording according to our schedule.